Amidst this volatility, we are seeing a further weakness in the rupee as well, because for today, rupee has touched its all-time low level and crossing past and even touching that 87 a mark of 87 per dollar as well. But what's the way forward for rupee? How much more weakness, or what is the likely impact on the rupee going ahead? Let's understand more from Anindya Banerjee, who is the Senior VP, Head of Currency and Commodity Research at Kotak Securities. Hi, good morning, Mr. Banerjee, and thank you so much for your time. This further weakness in the rupee and touching its all-time low levels for today, how do you see this, and what's next for rupee actually? Help us understand your analysis, because in the last few quarters, we are seeing a lot of intervention from the RBI as well. So where do you see rupee headed and stabilizing as well?
Yeah, Namaskar, and thank you for having me. The Indian rupee is now subjected to what is happening to almost all Asian currencies, almost all currencies against the US dollar. Because after Trump announced the high tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and also he slapped fresh tariffs on China. The trade war is on, and we have been expecting this since the end of last year. That we have been arguing that Trump 2 is going to be very different from Trump 1. And his America First policy can actually lead to some very decisive actions on the trade war front, because he has been very categorical about bringing manufacturing back into US. And that can lead to some unpleasant consequences on global trade. So that's the reason why dollar index is almost at 110, and we are seeing the impact on the Indian rupee, and we could see some more depreciation on the rupee, but RBI is going to be there curbing the volatility.
So, Banerjee, point taken, but from what we understand, RBI has done a $5 billion rupee dollar swap just a few days
Right.
ago. How much of this action is going to be undermined by this tariff announcement? And do you believe that this tariff impact is just temporary and this RBI's undertaken action is going to have long-standing consequences, or do you think the tariffs are going to completely overshadow what the RBI is trying to do here?
Sure. See, every time the RBI sells the US dollar to basically curb the volatility, what happens is it sucks out the Indian rupee liquidity from the banking system. So, in order to keep the liquidity stable, it has to do the swaps or do OMOs or other measures. So, we will keep on seeing such liquidity measures continue, because, in our opinion, the tariff war is not temporary. That's the reason why I said Trump 1 and Trump 2 are very different. He has categorically said that his objective is the midterm elections. I'm talking about the US president, and midterm elections are less than 2 years away. And he wants to bring decisive changes with his America First policy, which means next 12 to 18 months, we could see far more actions on tariffs, and especially on China, which can actually have a long lasting impact on global trade and a very positive impact on the US dollar. So yes, this intervention from RBI, we expect it to continue, and the RBI will keep on infusing liquidity in the interbank system in order to so that his interventions don't make the liquidity tight.
All right, but also, Mr. Banerjee, you did talk about that there could be some more weakness in the rupee, and we could be in for that. Can you help us with some level to watch out for? Because 87 is what we have already touched. In your analysis, what's the level that you are factoring in the worst case scenario? And along with that, how does the global economic condition, such as maybe US interest rates hike or inflation, are likely to impact the rupee performance?
Sure. See, in a worst case scenario, we could see the Indian rupee head towards 88 half or 89 levels over the next few months, because we have to understand Indian rupee is not getting singled out. In fact, it is the entire pack of currencies which is depreciating against the dollar, because dollar is the global reserve currency, and whenever there is a flight to safety, people will flock to the US dollar. So that is the overarching theme. Now, as far as the economic impact of this is concerned, the budget has been quite fantastic as far as it focuses on growth, on reforms, and so it has, and also it talks about the fiscal consolidation. So the domestic help is there, but the global situation is going to be challenging. So that's the reason why we could see some more impact on the Indian rupee in the coming months. So the overall volatility in the financial markets is going to be exceptionally high because of Trump.
And before we let you go, Mr. Banerjee, just want to get your quick take on what the action ahead is. What do you think India needs to do in terms of its trade policies to try and navigate what's happening with the dollar? And also, we have the MPC announcement coming in this week. Are you expecting some announcements, some more announcements on the OMO front, or anything that could impact what the MPC decision is going to be on Friday?
Right. We could see more announcement on the liquidity front, whether RBI will cut rates or not. That is a 50-50 because the global situation is challenging. And Fed has clearly said that they are on a standby, which means if you cut rates and infuse too much of liquidity, your currency could come under pressure because of the interest rate differential. Now, as far as the actions on the trade front is concerned, see, the America First policy is basically, in a nutshell, it talks about deglobalization. So in a deglobalized environment, every country has to focus on its own internal economy and regional trade. So that will be the overarching theme of India and other countries in the coming quarters and years. So yes, so that's the overall situation we are looking at.
All right, Mr. Banerjee, with this, we'll let you go on that. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us on the weakness that we are seeing in the rupee and what's the way forward.